What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got another card review. This time we're looking at a brand new Link monster reveal. This time it's a plant boss monster? Link 4? Okay. And it's actually pretty decent. I gave it a quick read over before, right before I started the video, so sorry that I spoiled myself a little bit on that. I had to look at it though, just to see, because it's the only card revealed tonight, and I'm not going to make a review on one card if I don't know that it's solid or not. But it looks amazing. Can we take a second to just appreciate this card before we even get to what the card does? I mean, he looks incredible. He looks like if Groot goes ham, and I guess Groot does kind of go ham a little bit in Marvel in the Marvel movies, but this guy is dope. I love his design. I like plants. I've always liked plants. They just haven't been good for a little while, but they have a lot of strong cards. Lone Fire Blossom. They have the Arrow Mage Link monster. They've got some cool cards. They definitely do. So, yeah, we're going to get into him real quick. All right. Without further ado, this is Bengalance's The Samsaric Cycle. Okay. Cool. He is a light plant Link effect monster. He's a Link 4 with 2,500 attack. Interesting that he's only 2,500. I guess that's not too crazy for a Link 4, but 3,000 would have been a little nicer. His arrows are the standard plus sign, so he points up, down, left, and right, which is fine. And his materials are 2+ plant monsters. Now that's kind of important to note here because his effects are actually really generic. He does require plants, though, to go into, so just keep that in mind. All right. Next up, for his effects, you can only activate his first or second effect once per turn and only once per turn. Gotta keep that in mind. So if you use one, you can't use the other in the same turn. That's fine because one of them is a quick effect, so it's not the biggest deal. Here we go. First effect reads, during the main phase, quick effect, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls. You take damage equal to that monster's attack, and if you do, return that monster to the hand. Okay, so a quick effect, just compulse. It is during the main phase, so you can't use it during battle phase, standby phase, end phase. But, main phase is as good as it gets, right? It's better than it being specifically something else. So we'll take it. It's very reactive, which is very nice. And compulse is actually a pretty good card in 2020. Who would have thought that a card as old as compulse that was actually way worse. Usually cards get worse over time, but Compulse actually just got better with the development of extra deck monsters. It's pretty nice. Okay, so a quick Compulse. One thing I do want to note is the damage you take can actually be pretty hefty. I mean, a lot of times the most powerful Compulses you can fire off are when your opponent puts the most amount of resources into a monster, and those monsters tend to be a little bit bigger, gotta say. So you got to keep that in mind, that if you're going to try and bounce a 3,000 attack point boss monster, you're going to eat 3,000 damage, which is pretty hefty. And if you're trying to use this effect turn after turn, you are going to be taking a good amount of damage. So just keep that in mind. I do still think it's a better effect than the damage you take. I do think the plus outweighs the minus for this effect, but I just wanted to make note of that. The second effect reads, if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 2 or more Link monsters from grave whose combined Link rating equals 4. Has to be exactly 4, not 4 or more, so keep that in mind. Special summon this card from your graveyard, but banish it if it leaves the field. Okay. Recurs himself back to the field. A couple things I want to note on this effect. It says banish 2 or more Link monsters, period. Even though this card takes plants exactly to make, you could banish any generic Link monsters from grave to get him back from grave. So you could banish a Link 1 and a Link 3. It could be an Almirage and a Unicorn. And you could bring this back. So that's really nice to see. I think generally you're still going to be banishing your plant Link 2s probably. You might make 2 plant Link 2s and go into this guy, or a plant Link 2 and 2 other monsters, but you might just want to summon another Link 2 that's a plant just to be able to set up the requirements in grave so that you can recur him when need be. But I do like this effect. I like it a lot because it just says sure, you out him, but if you're outing him by sending him to the grave and not sending him back to the extra deck or banishing him or whatever, he is going to have the chance to just jump back on the field very, very freely. I mean, if these Link monsters in grave are dead and have no effects in grave, cool. Like, we're just going to get him back for free. He's going to be able to start compulsing things again. He does get banished when he leaves the field, which is fine. I mean, that's probably pretty balanced. It probably should be, rather than him being able to come back every single turn. That's understandable, but still a good card. I think overall it's a nice card. I think what this is really solid, because I think one of the problems for Plants, or what's been a problem for Plants over the last little while, was we always knew Plants have the ability to extend and spam the board with a bunch of plant monsters, but they never really felt like they had great win conditions. And I guess you could take advantage of something generic like Apollousa or IP Masquerena into Unicorn plays, but those are pretty standard, like, basic interruptions. You need something else with a little bit of oomph to back those kinds of interruptions up and really make a meh board legitimately scary, right? So I think this card does that. It gives Plants an own in archetype way. I like that he has the recursion effect. I think that's huge for him. If he just had the first effect, I'd be like, this should be a Link 3. But I think because it has the second effect, I think being a Link 4 makes sense. I think it's a good card. I think it's playable. I kind of want to just try and build like a Plant Link spam deck, just to try and like try this guy out and see how effective he can be as a boss monster in a deck, because he bounces stuff going. And that's the other thing too. His disruption effect is not just a negate. Sometimes negates are weaker going second, because like they'll just disrupt you before you get to him. But going second, if you get to him, they could try and remove you from the field, but you can take something down with you, which is nice. So I like that a lot, as well as his effect, if you can get to him going second, helps you break a board while also being a disruption if you're going first. So kind of versatile in that way as well. I like him. I really do. I don't think he solves all the problems that Plants have, obviously, but I do think he's nice. I think I would rather make him than a 3-mat Apollousa. Maybe that's just me. Obviously, you probably want to end on something else as well. I don't think either is very good if that's the only thing you're ending on, but I'm just saying he at least gives you recursion, so if he gets outed, you can still summon him back and do something later on, whereas Apollousa, once it dies, it's like almost entirely useless. Almost entirely just, this does nothing for you now. But I'm into it. I'm definitely into it. So yeah, that's going to do it for me here, guys. This is the only card revealed today, but I think this is a cool one. I'm going to pick this card up definitely for any future Plant archetypes that might be able to take advantage of him for sure. And I'm going to end it off there. Thank you so much for watching. As always, leave down in the comment section down below, what your thoughts are on this card. Is it a banging card? Do you think it's just meh? Do you think it really does solve some of the board building potential that Plants needed, a more efficient boss monster that they needed? I think it helps. And I'd like to see a little more stuff, maybe combined with some of the Sun Avalon stuff that kind of helps Plants a little bit more with like spamming the board. We'll see where it all ends up, because Plants really do have a lot of good support cards. They need like one new archetype that's like kind of balling, and we might be able to see something pretty cool flourish, if you will. Yeah, Plant puns. Nice. I'm gonna get out of here before I make any more bad jokes, I should say. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Let me know your comments down below on the new card, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.